Hello, everyone. It's Dad the Dropped here.
And it's Jona the Dropped here as well.
Up, boys!
Okay,
Let's
and
go!
you're off and underway in this team time trial.
Our usual starting man, Kay, had a little bit of trouble clipping in, so I got a bit ahead, but managed to get it all back together. This is the first video with power data, which gives another thing for us to talk about.
And you are blasting off some solid watts there by the look of it.
Yes, it was solid watts, but I did have to hold back a little bit because of didn't want to have to run away from the group.
One of the key things of team time trialing is measuring your effort and output in a way where you're all coordinated, right?
Yes, coordination is definitely one of the big things with team time trials, because obviously you have your team, and if you're not experienced with that team, it's just going to fall apart and you're not going to have a quick time. I am lucky that I have a few friends in this squad, and call it lucky or unlucky, there's no one really else to replace them, so I get a lot of experience with these same people, so our coordination is pretty good.
Hi and bye, Barradine girls. That's your sister's old school. And a great hotbed of cycling development in Auckland. I mean, there's so many cyclists at Barradine, it's like half of the girls' competition.
Yes, I think their team has gone down to F. They had a junior girls F team.
As an A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Yeah, I think.
It's just amazing. They do such a great job of nurturing that squad.
So going through changes pretty quick. It's a headwind section, so wind isn't really helping us here. So we keep the turns nice and short to save energy. Hi and bye to Mercs coming by on my left.
It was really nice of you to let them get past you.
Oh, he's a pretty strong fella. I did think here, is like, ooh, I could chase them, but then again, I don't want to run away from the team and cause problems. So, team aspect of it is always very important.
You've got to last the distance too, right? I guess. I mean, who knows? They might be burning themselves out. Right.
Grandma Beast had a pretty good time that day. But yes, very important to make sure you're conserving energy. Which is why having 5 people on the team and waiting a while to drop off someone if they're not feeling the best, or maybe that's just your strategy, is pretty important. Which is why team time trials are a lot faster than single time trials.
So explain that a little more. Why they're faster than an individual time trial?
So an individual time trial would be slower than a team time trial because you are always hitting the wind, which means you are having to work against it all the time, the entire way through the time trial. Whereas in a team time trial aspect, especially with 5 people, you could maybe do 30 seconds on the front with a lot higher effort than you would do in an ITT, individual time trial. And then you can hop on the back like you see James doing right here, where you have the draft from all the 4 people ahead of you, so you do significantly less work, ready to recover for your next turn on the front. And while everyone's doing that, you'll get a whole lot faster.
Go get him, boys! Go get him!
So this gap that Kay is leaving there, that's not ideal in terms of drafting benefit, right?
No, you usually want to get as close as you can to the wheel in front of you. Unfortunately, he had to pull off here. He had a puncher on this front wheel. You might have, all the eagle-eyed viewers would have seen the low amount of pressure in his front tire. So I have to sprint up to the wheel ahead of me, which creates even more gaps behind. So you've got to make sure you have some strong people who can sprint onto the wheel if need be.
So one thing we should note is that in the senior schools TTT competition here, you're allowed to start with 5 riders, but the time is taken from the 4th rider to finish. So you can spare 1 rider.
Yes, so that's there to sort of create a more interesting aspect of it. I'm pretty sure it derives from team pursuiting, which is on the track, where if you've watched that before, you start with 4, and almost all the time, you'll see one person do a big, long, hard turn, giving everyone else a lot more recovery time, but then because they've just gassed themselves, they pull off, so now you're left with 3. So it's the same thing in this, except we have starting with 5 people and finishing with 4. Same concept of more recovery time. And also, if you have a mechanical, like Kay had, it's not the end of the world. So you'll see here, with my power column on the right, I was doing under 200 watts. Which for a cyclist like myself is fairly easy for the type of riding we're doing. And you'll see Caleb pull off the front here. You'll see that number instantly shoots up to 290, almost 300, which just shows you how much difference the drafting aspect makes. And you also see the speed increase a little bit.
Yeah, so you've got maybe up to 350 watts there to do 38 k's an hour, and look at your heart rate at 192, so it's fairly high. It's not your maximum, but it's still pretty high. It'll still kill most of us, and that's because you're going into the wind.
Yes, that was straight into a headwind, so 38 k's an hour. For someone as light and underpowered as I am, it's pretty good.
You're doing a big pull here, aren't you? Oh, finally, there goes the flick of the elbow, and you've pulled onto the opposite side to what you normally do.
Yes, that was because of the way I went through the corners, because I thought there might have been a little bit of overlap on my right side because I went pretty deep into the left, so I didn't want to cause any lapping problems by going the other way. And as I said earlier, we're a pretty experienced team together, so I knew just to adapt to that pretty well.
47 k's an hour past the stadium.
Yes, so we planned it so that I didn't do anything during the tailwind section, so that where it counts most in the headwind, where we would lose most of our time, we can have the stronger people in the group do more turns along there, which keeps our average speed a lot higher than if we sort of just winged it and did however we feel like. We wouldn't have optimal laps for the different sections of the course.
So Caleb, who's in front of you, he's like the newest kid on the block with your team. How's he been doing with you guys?
He's very good.
Good guys, looking good.
I think just slightly inexperienced, so gaps are left a little bit and lapping isn't the greatest, but he's very, very strong, which is good, because you'll see here he's on the front, and he won't do a long turn because he's pretty new to road cycling in general, so his endurance isn't the best.
He's a mountain biker.
Yeah, but you see the speed that he put in was no slouch.
Yeah, it's great, and he's learned to be quite aero too now.
Yes, he certainly picked up the fact that it's a whole lot easier. You'll see my huge watts to the side there, almost reaching 7 watts per kilo. Coming back down to 50. I think we had a little break in the bunch, so I had to pull off slightly early and just keep everything together.
Yes, pretty slow through there. And I see your cadence dropped. I was going to comment before, your cadence very consistently around 90 RPM.
Yes, that's Because there's definitely a sweet spot where if your cadence is too low, it's gonna be a pretty grindy, and that actually wastes excess energy. And if you're spinning too much, then you don't have that resistance to make good changes in your pace based on who's in front of you. So you'll see here when I'm on the front, I've got about almost 90 RPM, which is right about that sweet spot for a time trial like this.
This looks like a slower lap. We don't have the... Actually, we should try and put lap time data up here, shouldn't we?
Yes, I think... I'm not sure why we slowed down. I think we just sort of realised that we might be going out a bit hot, and you see me gradually increasing the pace here back up to 37, 38. Just trying to keep that average speed as high as possible. With a bit higher RPM, almost reaching 100. But yes, my turn's done. Go back to the back for recovery.
Kieran takes over. How did Kieran end? James was behind you before, now Kieran's the next one behind you.
That was due to Kay's mechanical, and
He reshuffled.
yes. So when he was pulling back, because obviously no air in the front tire, that's very, very slow. So I jump around and sprint forward, and Kieran was lapping off at the same time. So I sprinted onto Caleb's wheel, which is the guy in green in front of me, and then Kieran started behind, but James was slightly slower to get around Kay, so then he jumped on Kieran's wheel, and that's how the reshuffle happened.
I mean, it's kind of helpful for the video because it means you get somebody else's face on the GoPro on the back of your bike.
Yeah.
Not that was the reason you guys did it, but yeah.
No, and you can really see just how much difference it makes with my heart rate going down to 170, my watts being in the mid 100s.
Even though you're going 10 k's an hour faster.
Yeah, it was very, very windy this day as well. Large tailwind and very strong headwind. So it's just halfway through now.
Catching Lawrence, team. Keep going, keep going. Looking up, guys. Try to get up.
So you gotta give them some encouragement as we go past.
Yeah, I noticed in the editing you did that. So, you mentioned team pursuit before. Anyone who's watched the Olympics, I guess we're a bit biased, but it's one of the iconic Olympic sports, I think. That image of four riders with maybe a 10 centimetre gap between their bikes, just absolutely zooming around the velodrome. It's, it's quite something, isn't it?
Yes, it is certainly an amazing experience to even watch, let alone do.
Our top guys are kind of okay at it, but our women are amazing, right?
Yes, they got silver in the Paris Olympics last year, team pursuit, only losing to USA, and they had a lot newer bikes, so I reckon a few technological advancements will be going for gold in LA LA 2028.
Go, Team New Zealand. By and by Takapuna? Is that Takapuna Rubber?
Yes. I think they started... Oh no, this is a different team. A lot of other schools are very lucky to have several teams, which, although good for them, makes it slightly hard to keep track of as an opposition team.
Actually, that's another thing we should point out. Your team is wearing 3 different uniforms.
Yes. So it's actually really cool about how this race is organised. So obviously it's a school series. But for people at schools like mine, who, although my school used to be one of the biggest teams out of all of them, it's really cool that they allow what we call composite teams, where in this sense we've got 2 riders from Selwyn, 1 from Glendowie, and 1, me, from Sacred Heart, where we can all ride together.
If you look back on the Jona the Drop YouTube videos, a couple of years ago, there were 4 of you at Sacred Heart, which was kind of fun, being out there in the same kit. Unfortunately, Jack finished school, and the 2 Pepper boys shifted to St. Kitts. But hey, isn't it great you've still got a team to do this with? You guys also did Team Pursuit together at the track.
Yes, it was amazing doing Team Pursuit with my school. I certainly probably won't be getting that experience again, so it was great to have it for that 1 year.
So when you first started riding, I thought this Team Time Trial series was a bit ridiculous. I thought there should be more just road races for school kids. Because this is not road racing. But I've come to sort of appreciate the discipline a bit more. Like, what would you say about Team Time Trials versus all the other cycling that you do?
I will say for sort of senior level, it gets a little bit tiresome, let's say. But I definitely think for sort of younger age groups, I think it's really important, actually, because obviously cycling isn't a sport that you pick up competitively at 5 years old like you do in tennis. So a lot of these kids who are sort of year 7, year 8, who are doing this for the first time, they don't have a lot of experience on the bike, and chucking them all into a big bunch race I don't think would be the best idea. So I think these team time trials are great for sort of getting all the kids out there, but keeping risk fairly low for crashing.
And they get the whole team camaraderie side of it. And I think they have a lot of fun, especially those Barradine girls. Once you get to the senior schools, it becomes just this big badge of honour for St. Kitts, Grammar, or Kings to try and take out the competition, right? That's when you're not part of that group. It's kind of, I don't know, what is it?
It's actually really great to be not one of those big schools, because St. Kitts, Grammar, Westlake, Kings, they all have their A teams, which are the fastest of the fast, but oftentimes they have a B team, a C team, and even a D team, which is a great benchmark for a team like us. So we're just like, okay, let's catch Grammar C this time, and then Kings B or something like that, which is great.
We just need the rest of your team to be a bit more enthusiastic about training, and then maybe you could be pushing up towards those A grade teams. But hey, you know, it's just great to get out there and do it, isn't it?
Yes, it's great to be there, and I love being around there, joining in with the school's events. I also get to hang out with all my friends from all the different schools.
And check out all their bikes. Speaking of the gear, school cycling rules are quite restrictive in terms of they only allow you to ride ordinary road bikes at these events, right?
Yes.
So, if you were a professional level, or even if this was a club event rather than a school's event, what kind of bike would you be riding for these events?
So for my age group, for club events and for track cycling, you're allowed to attach some clip-on aero bars, which sort of attach to the midsection of your handlebars and extend outwards, which help you get into a really aero position. They don't allow that for schools' team time trials. I assume just to keep everything somewhat fair, in terms of equipment from school to school, so it's more about just how good the school's riders are instead of what their budget is.
And next year, you're in the under 19 age group, where there aren't any restrictions outside of school events, so you could basically ride the same gear they do on the world tour, right?
Yes, if you had the budget, you could definitely get a full time trial setup with a disc wheel in the back and a very deep wheel in the front, which is a very common time trial setup, even the Pro Peloton.
So when would you see a team time trial in the Pro Peloton? I mean, mostly they do road races and sometimes they'll do time trials. But you do see team time trials here and there, right?
Yes, only once or twice a year, I think. In some major tours, they have a singular team time trial stage. I think in the La Vuelta, they have one for both men's and women's races.
We watched our local hero, Ali Wollaston, in FDJ Suez, doing a team time trial on the opening stage of the women's Vuelta a few weeks ago, right?
We did watch that as a very great stage to watch.
Good guys.
The coolest thing about it actually is the fancy bikes they ride, which it's a shame you guys can't do the same, although it would be extremely expensive and completely unrealistic.
Yes, if you had all 20 schools or something that come to these events, every single one of them buying a specialized time trial bike for this event would be very expensive and also pretty scary to watch people crash on these amazing machines.
That said, you're kind of hoping to get yourself a time trial bike for next year, aren't you?
Yes, it'd be great to have one, both for training. It's great to train in a nice aero position. Helps with road a lot as well. And also for specific club time trials and also wherever else I do one. Also great practice for when I get on the Pro Tour.
It's a shame Windspace don't make a time trial bike.
They don't make a time trial bike yet, but they do have some great and brand new time trial wheels, which I'm hoping to eventually get my hands on, which will be mega fast.
They'd look really cool on that new T1600.
They would look very cool, but also pretty out of place on a road bike.
Yeah. Well, have to see what Santa brings, I guess. Well, there you go, passing Takapuna Grammar again.
I think that's probably 18, which is good. Nice and quick. Coming into the last half lap here. Just trying to optimize who takes it into the corners.
Which means you, right? Oh, look, to be fair, you probably spend as much time road cycling as the rest of your team put together.
I think that's probably about accurate, yeah. I definitely do my week's worth training.
They're doing great considering. Do you ever lose track of how many laps you've done?
Actually, on lap 5, I had to turn around and ask Kieran what lap we were on. Just get a bit stuck in the moment of what effort you're doing.
It's pretty important that you know when it's time to finish, right?
Yeah, if you do lap extra, I think they might give you a lap extra on your time, because they time it from when you cross the finish line in the pits.
Right, and speaking of which, you're on the approach to the pit lane now, right?
Yes, you'll see a slightly sketchy situation. we're coming up on this corner. So there's another team of junior boys ahead of us. A slight problem with where they're riding on the course in this section. They're riding right on that pit lane, and we're screaming past. And we thought that they were going into the pit lane, so we come around them. But in fact, they're actually going straight. So you'll see there they had a bit of a sketchy moment, but we managed to finish without crashing, so it's all good.
That would have been a terrible place to crash right before the finish line.
Yes, it would have. It would have been terrible.
Well, there we go. You've successfully completed your team time trial.
Set a pretty fast time for it as well.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you learned something.
Thank you so much.